Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. How important is it to mentor people in the Christian faith? I'm glad you've joined us to spend some time together today. Wesley Mission began as and remains vitally a part of Christian witness. We're guided by the Christian faith in all that we do, both in our congregational life and in our community services. Since we began over 200 years ago, evangelism has been a priority in our work. It's been a Christian principle and practice that has seen us grow and expand over the years, adapting and changing to suit the different needs of the people that we serve. My guest today knows something of the importance of evangelism to the Christian life and has dedicated her life to not only telling others about God's love in relevant and meaningful ways, but also creating opportunities for younger people, particularly younger women, to be mentored and trained to pursue their own individual callings. Robyn Claydon is a preacher, teacher and evangelist who's been with the Lausanne movement for over 30 years. She's served on planning committees and as a mentor to emerging women leaders and serving as a senior associate for Women in World Evangelism. She's also mentored over 2,000 women in her various leadership roles. I'm looking forward to speaking with Robyn just a few moments' time. We'll be joined in the studio by Leah Brett and the Wesley Impact Band, who will sing He's Concerned. And I'll share some thoughts on my continuing series looking at words that have helped to give shape to our Christian thinking and mission. Today I shall be thinking about evangelism and its importance in Christian witness. But first, you may remember that Wesley Mission invited primary school children to meet with people in our retirement villages, to spend time with them, to ask questions and learn from their life and experience. We filmed a number of these conversations, which we've shared with you throughout the year. I'd like to continue doing that in the weeks to come. Let's take a look at a conversation with one of our residents, Beryl, and two primary school students.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Haberfield in the western suburbs. That's on the Parramatta River. The house I lived in was owned by my grandfather. He came out from Glasgow in Scotland. And it's a heritage suburb now. They're not allowed to go any higher than one story. And it's all glass and lead light. And do you know what that is? Yes. Yeah. Well, that sort of made it the heritage, and it was lovely.
What activities did you do as a child?
Oh, I rode a bike. I rode one roller skate and my girlfriend rode the other roller skate. Went swimming and we played a lot of backyard games, like tiddlywinks and silly things you've never heard of. We had a backyard gate between the houses and we'd go between each other's house and eat plums and apples and climb the trees. We had a lot of backyard fruit then. So that was good, and we could sit on top of the house where they had outdoor plants and everything like that.
What jobs did you have?
Oh, I was a hairdresser. I set wigs for the men in the courts. We used to dry clean these because you can imagine wearing them, they'd get very smelly and very, had to be redone, reset all the time. And I was in a big building that's pulled down now. When the Queen came, we stood on the roof and we watched the Queen when she came out here to Sydney a long time ago. It was good fun. I used to belong to a church and I used to teach scripture and do many things involving that in the church and so forth. And just seeing that, everything ran well in the house. We weren't allowed to have a lot of careers, and I didn't have any ambition in those days. I think I tried to further it as I grew older, so I hope it worked.
What are you most proud of yourself doing throughout your lifetime?
That's a hard one. When you've had quite a few years, I think 3 children. That was the biggest challenge, but I was lucky because I used to collect a lot of Sara Lee cakes and ice them and stash them in the freezer, and they thought I was a wonderful cook. So I got away with that. They used our house as a base because they were all intellectual and they all loved their tea. They never drank, they never smoked, and that went on until they, went and got their uni degrees.
What would you tell someone as advice to be happy or successful in life?
Happiness is something that you've got to work on. In my book it was, having 3-4 men in the house. You've got to just keep patient and keep your temper, that's the main thing. And have lots of friends. Lots of friends is a big thing, and to, circulate with them. And happiness doesn't come like that. You've got to work. Well, I'm sure all these men have to work on it too, had to work on it. And, it follows through then. I loved being a mother, and I did lots of things. I loved cooking, and I taught scripture and all that, and I made sure we went out and on picnics and out for meals, and you've got to involve everything. That helps towards it. It doesn't make it, the happiness, but that's something we've all got to work. I'm still trying to work on it too. But anyway, I'm here still, so that's the main thing, yeah. But thank you, you've been nice interviewers, yes. Thank you very much.
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
So those contact details are on the screen again now. Do be in touch if we can help to you or a loved one in any way. The doors of Wesley Mission are open, and we're more than happy to provide some help to you. My guest today is Robyn Claydon. She's a teacher, preacher, evangelist, writer of 2 books, and a long-time member of the Lausanne movement, where she's held many senior positions for many years. Welcome, Robyn, to the show.
Thank you.
Robyn, let me ask that first question. What is the Lausanne movement in a nutshell?
Well, the Lausanne movement started in Lausanne, but it became much more than just a place. And since 1974, when we met together to look at the whole world, Billy Graham brought a lot of people together who were very keen to take the gospel to their country. Billy Graham was very keen to take the gospel to the whole world. And so what he did, of course, in 1974 was to call together a couple of thousand leaders that he'd met around the world. And he said, OK, you're doing that in your country, but there's the whole world, let's work together. And he didn't start the Lausanne movement, but it started in Lausanne.
How did you get involved?
Well, it's really interesting how I got involved, because it was not my intention to get involved at all. I was a school teacher. And one day I got a phone call in my office at school, and the phone call said, Robyn, we're starting a big conference for Lausanne in 1989 in Manila. We're forming a committee which is going to work internationally for the next 5 years. There are 10 people on the committee. Would you be one of them? That came out of the blue. I hadn't even thought about it. And I believed eventually that it came from Dr. Leighton Ford, who had met me in Sydney. And so I said yes, but I said to them, look, I'm a school teacher. I can't go all around the world whenever you need me. And so they said, we'll have it in your school holidays. So I became part of a committee, and we put on this great conference.
And why did it resonate with you?
Oh, it resonated with me because from a very early age, when I was a little girl, I knew and loved Jesus. And I knew from my parents that I was called, as a Christian, to share my faith with other people. And I'd been doing it at school, I've been doing it at church, I've been doing it in a variety of ways. And if somebody said to me, Robyn, there's an opportunity for the gospel to be taken to the whole world, would you like to be part of it? Well, I said yes. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work.
Of course, David was involved in this and lots of men. How important was it for you as a woman to be involved in evangelism?
Well, it was very important for me to be a woman in evangelism. First of all, I don't think there's a great deal of difference between men and women in evangelism. I just think that a lot of women don't get the chance to be involved in evangelism. They don't get the chance to preach or to teach or to lead. I think that's improving in some parts of the world. But when I had an opportunity to start something which was to encourage women and to find women leaders around the world, I was ready to jump at it eventually, and I had to leave teaching to do that.
But if I might say, you were given the opportunity, weren't you, to mentor a lot of women down the years, which is something that, although a man could be involved in that, it really takes women to be involved in that at the deep
I think
level.
it does. I think a woman can understand a woman and where she's coming from in perhaps a better way. And my particular interest when I took up this role was I became the Senior Associate for Women in World Evangelisation. And my role was to find Christian women throughout the world who were being held back for one reason or another. It might have been by the church, it might have been by society, it might have been by politics. And I met so many amazing, wonderful women. And I said to them, what is your dream? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? How can we help you? And as I look back on the stories of some of those women, where one was a typist, and she's now the canon of Dodoma Cathedral, and she's the principal of the Theological College.
And some of this was in poverty as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
In places where very little by way of material help.
That's right. I spent a lot of time in Russia and in various parts of Yugoslavia, and they had so little. But they knew the Lord, and they wanted to do something for the Lord. And so I mentored them and introduced them to other women in other parts of the world who might be able to help them.
And we shared a little earlier, 1989, I was in Manila in the Philippines, and I remember that wonderful moment when the people from Russia arrived, and these were very challenging days for people behind the Iron Curtain. And that was a most amazing moment, wasn't it?
That was something I will never forget, and I'm sure David, my husband, will never forget it either, to be part of that. Do you remember that they were a week late because they were stopped by the authorities?
We were praying for them, weren't we?
We were praying for them.
During the thing.
The Russian authorities wouldn't let them out, but they came and they were late. And we were told to turn around. The Russians have arrived.
Yes.
And we all turned around and they were brought up to the top of the gallery. There were 70 of them.
Smartest looking people in the hall.
Because they all had suits and ties. That's right.
Yeah.
And so we wept and they wept. But you know, soon after that, when I was asked to take up this role with Lausanne, I remember Leighton Ford saying to me, "There's the world, Robyn, go wherever you like. Where will you go?" And I said, "I'll go to Russia," because there were no women. It was 70 men. 70 men who loved the Lord and were trying to take the gospel. But I thought, where are the women? I went to Russia first in 1990 and I met amazing women leaders who are now involved in all sorts of ministries.
Well, it's exciting to talk to you. I want you to stay around for a few moments so I can just catch another question before the end of the show. But to see women and people like yourself give themselves a teacher all the way through, but
absolutely.
Somebody who believed that this was a calling of God, and may God bless you. Let's now welcome Leah Brett on the show, who's going to sing "He's Concerned."
Just a prayer away. All you need to do is call. He will hear your faintest cry. He's concerned about you. So while your tears are flowing through your time of mourning, He is here to lift your heavy heart, 'cause He's in love with you. He knows, He cares, He sees, He's there, and He'll carry you. He's concerned about you. Weeping may endure for a night, but the morning will bring joy. He won't give you more than you can bear. He's concerned about you. about you. He's concerned about you. He's concerned about you.
Experience the Galilee and the towns and cities where Jesus was raised and called his home. Capernaum, Nazareth, Tabgha, Magdala, Caesarea Philippi, Bethsaida, Tiberias, and of course the Sea of Galilee all feature in this 6-part series as Keith Garner explains the first century context of biblical events.
Jesus was born during a time of change in the political and economic leadership of this region. Fishermen around a lakeside was really one of the big businesses. Why Jesus? Why didn't people ignore him? Why did they take him seriously? And what are the questions we should be asking today if we're going to take Jesus seriously?
The Man of Galilee is available now and comes with a study guide for leaders, small groups and individuals. For more, visit wesleymission.org.au.
My word in this series that we're looking at together this week is evangelism. And I want to read the words that we call the Great Commission that we find at the end of Matthew's Gospel, 28:16 through to 20. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." I still rate the fact that the ministry of evangelism is one of the great ministries that the world needs. It's not just a vital need for the church, but the world around us. We can think of this on many different levels. We think of it individually as we share the good news of Jesus, but we need it in our communities and in our nations to stir up a new beginning that comes as people are born afresh and anew through Christ. Some look at the concept of evangelism. I've heard people say, it's not my line, evangelism. It's not a case of whether it's your line, it's our line. We have to be an evangelistic community today. And all of us have a part to play. It's true that some people are more ready than others to talk freely, but all of us can partake in this great mission to the world. The greatest gift of service that we can ever do is to bring a person to Christ. For me, one of the greatest accounts in the New Testament is actually in the early chapter 1 of John, 35 to 42. And there we have the calling of disciples to family members, but it also features Simon, or Simon Peter as he became, his transformation and his calling, which was to be so different. You are and you will be. And evangelism is always saying that you are and you will be the opportunity. It comes alongside for me that first call of the disciples in Mark's Gospel, the first chapter, 16 to 18. A person to follow Jesus Christ. That's what we're called to do, to follow Jesus Christ. And there's a sense in which not only are we called to follow Jesus Christ, but more than that, we're given the power that will enable us to be followers of Jesus Christ. Come follow me, followers of Jesus, and I will send you. I will make you. The power to fashion. We don't do it ourselves. It's not through our own effort. It's not because we've been skilled or we've been to some college that has equipped us to do it, but we are empowered through the Spirit of God. I will send you out. But there's that wonderful truth, to fish for people. We used to sing, didn't we, about fishers of men, but to fish for people, to be engaged in such a way as we call people from wherever they are to wherever they can be for God's life. And God is wanting to do that in Sydney and Australia, but all across the world, in Europe, North America, wherever we find ourselves. Perhaps we're thinking also of those places like the Lebanon, like the places in the world where there is much suffering and hurt at this time. In those places too, God is wanting to set out a line and for you to be a fisherman so that you can draw people to himself. A purpose to fulfill. You see, once you respond to the call to be an evangelist, it takes over everything you do. It is who you are. It's what gives you purpose. It's what gives you meaning. It's, of all the things you are called to do, it is the most important thing. Now, I know I'm going to be careful saying that. People say, you shouldn't really say it. Oh, yes, we should say it, because that's how the world will know. How will the world know unless somebody tells them? How will people find out unless there is the willingness to speak the name of Jesus Christ, to point people in the right direction, to give to people the opportunity of finding the new life which brings a new birth, which brings a new beginning, which makes it possible for people to be changed entirely. When a person is meeting Jesus Christ, they're never the same again. Now, I know it doesn't happen the same way for everybody. Some people are changed in a moment. Others are changed over a period of time. I've said many times, it's not how you come, but that you come. It's not the fact that it happens in this way or that way, but that it does happen. That there is something that fundamentally happens at the heart of your life that makes you new and different. Now, if you're going to respond to these words of Jesus and be an evangelist like those first disciples were called to be, you're going to have the privilege, the immense privilege. Daniel T. Niles was a great Methodist from Sri Lanka, and he once said, evangelism is one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread. In other words, we start from where we are. We're not experts, we're not above everybody else, but we do know where we can find life. We do know in whom we have believed, to quote a scriptural truth. We do know who it is that can change lives. And so I want to offer the challenge to you today to share in this work of evangelism, to become an evangelist yourself if you're a believer in Jesus, and if you have not yet trusted him, to trust him today. And once you trust him, you will never, ever be the same again. And once you've trusted him, you can be one taking out the good news to share with other people.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
So do be in touch if we can help you or a loved one in any way. The contact details are once again on the screen. Also write if you'd like to. It's always a delight to receive letters and reply. I try to reply to them all as soon as we possibly can with questions about the Christian faith. It's been a delight to share in the programme today with Robyn Claydon, someone who knows all too well the importance of creating opportunities for emerging talent to share new skills with others. Robyn, one final question before we finish. If someone's listening to our conversation today and they're thinking of stepping out of their comfort zone, which is what I think you had to do, to step out of that, to develop a ministry, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would say don't hesitate for a moment. But even though you might feel very overwhelmed, remember that you walk with Jesus. Jesus will go with you. You won't be alone. You'll be never alone. And you've got the most wonderful treasure, which has changed your life. Surely you want to share that with other people. So step out in faith.
And
God
you've
will
certainly
equip.
done that, Robyn. And may God bless you and as you continue to seek to serve him in so many ways. Thank you for making this part of your day and joining us on the programme. We look forward to spending time with you at the same time next week here on Wesley Impact. God bless you.
Wesley Mission walks alongside people of all ages struggling with homelessness, addictions, mental health issues and financial stress. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.